Good afternoon, everyone. My name is DM Rawlings. I am the 10-Minute DM, and I'm an experienced Forge in the Dark GM. I am here to offer some advice 10 minutes at a time. So recently, I picked up a copy of Apocalypse World, and as you may or may not know, Apocalypse World is the first of the Powered by the Apocalypse engine, and it's also one of the predecessors to Blades in the Dark, which, of course, in turn is one of the predecessors of Candela Obscura. It has some amazing GM principles, and we're going to go over them one by one and strip them for parts for your Forged in the Dark game. Number 1, Barf 4th Apocalyptica. So you instantly see what I mean. This is just incredibly evocative. As GMs, our main job is to describe what our characters see, and since Apocalypse World takes place in a harsh, apocalyptic world, this principle wants us to lean into that setting really, really hard. For instance, here's a quote. In Apocalypse World, when the rain falls, it's full of fine black grit like toner, or out among the wrecked cards, wild dogs fight for territory. So how do we use this in Candela Obscura? Well, it reminds us first and foremost that it's our job to take this setting to 11. Just as Apocalypse World is apocalyptic, Candela Obscura is turn-of-the-century gothic horror, and we should lean into that setting with our whole heart. Use evocative framing, like rain pouring off of gargoyles in a somber graveyard, or creeping sanguine tendrils blighting a supernal wound, or a worm-eaten carcass lurching forward with undead alacrity. It's these kinds of terms that bring out the world and make Candela Obscura truly something breathtaking to behold. Number 2, look through crosshairs. There's a quote all throughout Apocalypse World, which is, there is no status quo in Apocalypse World. Everything you see, every person you talk to, sits on a knife's edge. We as GMs are instruments of havoc and entropy, and it's our lot in life to upend and unsettle, and to create disarray and discomfort. Apocalypse World says, everything you own is first, always, and overwhelmingly a target. And in Candela Obscura, no character should ever feel safe in the presence of the supernatural. It defies all of our laws, all of our conceptions. It is not a thing of humankind. It doesn't constrain itself to our ethics or our physics or anything else that we know. It has no understanding of life or death, at least as we understand it, and when it destroys, it's seldom out of malice, but it's based on instinct, the need to feed, to breed, to hate. It's inscrutable. It's in accordance to a logic that we can't even start to comprehend. So when we're telling stories in Candela Obscura, we should be making magic mysterious and unknowable. Use it to unsettle and mystify our players, and then wreck things and leave trails of bodies. So, I do hope that you're liking this so far. If you do want to improve your craft as a GM, I am uploading tips here twice a week. So please hit subscribe and level up your game. Alright, back to the tips. Number 3, ask provocative questions. Apocalypse World gives a lot of power over to players to define their characters' worlds. It wants the GM to ask questions of our players that can become canon, and then build on those answers to create a more vivid, shared world. And some examples, things like, what's your living space like? Or how do the people of the tent city make you feel? Fiction-first games like Candela Obscura thrive when everyone is contributing to the story, and as a GM, we don't have to do all of that work. Our players understand the world that surrounds their characters far better than us, so through the course of play, find opportunities to ask them questions and allow them to express their characters. This is how we as GMs activate and encourage that writer's room mentality that I've talked about before. And some examples of questions that might be valuable for you. How does your character know this person? How is the entrance guarded? How does it feel when you weave the flare? I have another video that I plan to make in my backlog that's all about asking questions, because I think it's such a powerful tool that every GM should begin to draw from. And number 4, be a fan of your characters. Apocalypse World wants a GM to make their characters' lives more interesting. And yes, that means they're often facing adversity, but it's not about doing the worst possible things to them. It's about giving them captivating problems to overcome. Don't be out to get them. Don't take away the things that make them cool. And don't undo their hard-earned successes. Instead, play to their strengths. Make them look cool. Have NPCs react to their greatness and cheer their success. In Candela Obscura, we should strive for the same. Display your characters excelling and in their element. Provide situations where they can stand out. Put them in places where they need to make bold choices. And show NPCs responding to their bravery, heroism, or sacrifice. And give control to the players so that they can tell us how they want to do this. So in closing, Candela Obscura is pretty cool, but Apocalypse World has this fantastic evocative setting with some of the coolest GM advice that I've ever seen. So go ahead and barf forth Gothica and use some of these amazing tips in your game. I've been DM Rawlings, your 10-minute DM. And if you like what you see, one more time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.